The sun hung high above the forest, burning brighter than usual, turning the leaves dry and the soil warm enough to sting bare feet. In this wild and unforgiving jungle lived a fox, a lean, sharp-eyed creature with a reddish coat that had lost its shine over the past few weeks. His name was Rowan. And today, like many days before, Rowan hadn't eaten anything. Food had become rare. Streams had dried. Small animals had grown cautious. Every step Rowan took felt heavier than the last. His ribs pressed through his fur, and each inhale burned like he was swallowing heat from the earth itself. He paused under a dying oak tree, panting. Another day, nothing again, he whispered to himself. Rowan had once been the fastest hunter in the forest, quick, clever, and proud. Animals admired him. Some feared him. But things changed. Seasons changed. And Rowan, he wasn't what he used to be. He felt weaker. Slower. Older. But what hurt him even more than hunger was the feeling of failure that had slowly crept into his heart. Every day, the jungle felt louder, brighter, mocking him. Every shadow felt like a reminder that perhaps he wasn't good enough anymore. He shook his head. No. I won't break today. He kept walking, ignoring the grinding pain in his stomach. After nearly an hour of dragging himself forward, he finally reached a small clearing, a place he rarely visited. The air smelled different here. Sweeter. Cleaner. Almost refreshing. And then, through the blur of his tired vision, he saw them. Hanging above an old wooden fence. Grapes. Clusters of them. Purple. Round. Juicy. Glistening under the sunlight like pearls dipped in sugar. Rowan's eyes widened. His breath caught. For the first time in weeks, hope lit inside him. Grapes, real grapes, he whispered, unable to believe it. The sight alone brought strength to his weak legs. The world around him seemed to fall away as he stared at them, imagining the burst of sweetness in his mouth, the cool juice running down his throat, the energy returning to his limbs. He stepped forward slowly, as though approaching a miracle. But the grapes were high. Very high. Hanging on a vine that climbed the fence, nearly twice his height. Still, Rowan smiled confidently. I've hunted bigger things than this. Grapes? Easy. He didn't know that today, those grapes would teach him a lesson he would never forget. A lesson even harder to swallow than hunger. Rowan positioned himself beneath the grapes, stretched his legs, inhaled deeply, and jumped. He barely reached halfway. He landed awkwardly, his front paw twisting slightly as he hit the ground. A sharp pain shot through him. He growled in frustration. Too weak. Try again. He crouched deeper this time, muscles trembling, tail balancing him. He jumped again. Higher. Stronger. Still not enough. The grapes looked down at him almost mockingly, as though they enjoyed watching him struggle. Rowan's breathing grew heavier. These grapes, they're just out of reach. Just a little more. He tried a third time. A fourth. A fifth. Each attempt weaker than the previous, each landing more painful. Birds perched on nearby branches glanced at him curiously. A squirrel paused mid-climb to watch. Rowan didn't like being watched, especially failing in front of others. His pride burned hotter than the sun above him. He grunted in anger. This wasn't supposed to be hard. He was a hunter. A fox. A creature of skill and instinct. And yet, here he was, unable to reach something that didn't even move. Sweat trickled down his face. Dirt clung to his fur. His heart pounded as though trying to punch its way out of his chest. He backed away and sat under a tree, chest rising and falling rapidly. For a moment, he allowed himself to feel the exhaustion he had been ignoring for days. I used to be strong, he whispered. But strength didn't matter right now. Hunger didn't matter. Pride didn't matter. Only those grapes mattered. And Rowan wasn't going to walk away without them. Rowan looked around for ideas. He found a fallen log nearby, thick and sturdy. He rolled it toward the fence, pushing with all his remaining strength. The rough bark scratched his paws, and his muscles screamed in protest. But finally, he placed the log beneath the vines. He climbed it. Still not enough height. He needed more. He pushed a rock next, placing it on top of the log. His legs shook as he climbed the wobbly structure. His nose was closer, inches closer, but still not enough. His breath turned shaky. A strange fear crawled into his heart. What if he really couldn't reach them? He stepped down quickly, trying not to show his panic, even though no one was watching him. He tried again. Pushing. Pulling. Climbing. Falling. Adjusting the log. Adding more stones. Balancing himself carefully. But the grapes remained just beyond his reach. It was as if they were floating away every time he tried. Rowan sat down again, exhausted. His paws were scraped. His legs were trembling. His throat was dry. Is this the best I can do? The wind blew softly, rustling the leaves above him, as if the forest was whispering an answer he didn't want to hear. Rowan closed his eyes. Memories slid into his mind. Days he had succeeded. Hunts he had mastered. Times when animals respected him. Moments when he felt invincible. He missed that version of himself. And yet, that version felt so far away now. Just like the grapes. The sun began to dip lower. Shadows stretched across the ground. It was getting late. Rowan forced himself up one more time. One last try, he whispered, though he didn't really believe it was the last. He leapt again. And this time, something snapped. Not the branch. Not the log. Not the fence. Inside him. A realization so sharp it felt physical. He fell hard onto the ground, dust exploding around him. Pain shot through his shoulder. He groaned, curling slightly, holding in the sound of defeat. For a long moment, he stayed there. Silent. Still. Breathing slowly, painfully. He finally whispered. Why can't I reach them? Not angry. Not frustrated. Just lost. And then, something inside him broke open. For the first time, he asked himself a question he had avoided for years. What if I simply can't? His chest tightened. He wasn't young anymore. He wasn't strong anymore. He wasn't the fox he used to be. He wasn't enough. He hated that thought. He hated how true it felt. Tears threatened to rise, but he blinked them away. Foxes didn't cry. At least, that's what he always told himself. Rowan stared at the grapes, his breath uneven. It's not fair, he whispered. Why would something so beautiful be put where I can't reach? And then, the realization came like a cold wind. He wasn't angry at the grapes. He was angry at himself. He was angry that he had finally found something he wanted, deeply, desperately, and he wasn't good enough to reach it. That truth hurt more than hunger. More than failure. More than the pain in his muscles. It was a truth he had spent his whole life running from. Rowan stood slowly, legs shaky. He looked at the grapes one last time, the way they glowed softly in the evening sun, as if calling to him. He wanted them. He wanted to taste them. He wanted them more than anything else. But wanting wasn't enough. He turned his back. Every step he took away from the grapes felt like a knife twisting deeper into his chest. He paused at the edge of the clearing, looked over his shoulder, and muttered. Those grapes were probably sour anyway.